Aquarius. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for November of 2021. Well, Aquarius, there's a gathering of planets in your 10th and 11th houses this month, which definitely points to that some serious stuff is happening in the realm of career or business for you. And if you have questions about that you want to delve into deeper, you will find there's a link for the mission orders reading in the YouTube description below, and either Julia or I would be happy to help you with that. Well, this month, Saturn and Chiron have been traveling all year in a sextile, which means harmonious. Saturn is the principle of career and discipline and structure, which has been sitting in your first house all year since January. And really just making you feel like, I better take myself seriously. So Saturn's been doing that, and Chiron's been helping Saturn from over here in the third house of communication. Now, wherever Saturn falls, you definitely want to discipline yourself in that area. And the first house being the house of your behavior, you've probably been reining yourself in. Or experiencing forces outside you stopping you if you're not reining yourself in. And this is really an opportunity to present the best reputation to the world. And then the form that Chiron's help may take is that the more your communication is healing in its nature, it can really help you to progress in that reputation. So there's good stuff there. We've got a video about Saturn's sextile to Chiron and what that's been like this year. You'll find it in the November 2021 news playlist on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology. Wanted you to know that stuff first, and I'll be telling you more about the moons, but before that, Julia, I think you've got some news for the Aquarians of the world about Mercury, Venus, and Mars.
Yes, I do, Jamie. Well, hey there, Aquarius. Let's start with Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication, and wherever we have Mercury that month is going to be where we have where we expend a lot of mental energy. Now, Mercury just finished up a whole retrograde cycle, so it's starting to move fast this month. We're kind of over all the miscommunications and confusion from last month, which is good news. And Mercury begins the month in your 9th house. This is the house of education. It's the house of travel. So for the first 5 days of the month when Mercury is here, this is a wonderful period if you're learning something new. Let's say you're at school, because the 9th house rules anything that kind of expands our horizon. So wonderful time for learning. Also a great time for taking a trip. Mercury is the travel planet and the 9th house rules travel. So maybe you've got some fall plans coming up, which could be nice. Then on November 5th, Mercury is going to move into your 10th house of career. So after the 5th, you're going to be spending a lot of your time thinking, strategizing about your career in general. Maybe it's about how you're going to get ahead more in your career, or what should be the next career you want to get into. It's a nice transit if you have to kind of refresh your resume or CV, because Mercury rules writing for the next job application. And then Mars, the planet of action and activity, is also in the 10th house with Mercury. And Mars is going to be here for the whole month because it just shifted signs into Scorpio the last day of last month. So with Mars in the 10th house here too, wherever we have Mars is where we can feel very, very driven, but also where we could run into some conflict as well. So with Mars in the 10th house, this could be a good time to get a lot of work done in career, as long, it's probably better if you could do work on your own versus working in a team setting, because Mars likes to kind of be independent and do things on its own, but you might feel very, very driven at work this month. The big challenge of Mars in the 10th house, because the 10th house does represent the authority figures in your life, whether that's a boss, a teacher, or a parent, whoever tells you what to do in your life is the 10th house, and it's different things for different people. But whoever that person is, with Mars in the 10th, this could be a time of running into some conflict or frustrations with the authority figures in your life. So, be mindful of that as well. Now, on a happier note, Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and relationships, starts the month and spends the first 5 days of the month in your 11th house of friends. It's a great transit for just connecting with the people in your life, if you're a member of any groups, such as unions, clubs, societies, recovery programs, you could really be getting a lot out of and enjoying the groups in your life, because wherever we have Venus is where we find pleasure. Now, after November 5th, Venus is going to move into your 12th house. The 12th house is a very isolated house. So for the rest of the month, you might feel more like withdrawing socially than being a social butterfly. And with Venus in the 12th house, if you have a spiritual side or even an altruistic side to you, let's say, maybe you like to give some of your time to charity or some of your money to charity, or maybe you enjoy doing consciousness exploration or going to church. Venus in the 12th house can really make it so we find more pleasure in those areas of our life, whether it's exploring the subconscious or exploring ourselves spiritually or religiously. And if you're in a relationship, you might just enjoy kind of cozying up at home with your partner instead of going out and about, because Venus in the 12th house can be a bit of a homebody transit as well, but a nice one at that.
Yes, definitely. So there are a couple of moons to report. The first one is a new moon in Scorpio, which falls in your 10th house. New moons are great times for planting seeds for the future. The 10th house is, of course, the domain of career. Like we said, lots of activity in this 10th house for you this month. And this one, though, we're calling this one Stabilize Paranoia Through Disruption. And that's a very, I don't know, that's an information dense topic right there. A lot to unpack there. But part of where it comes from is Moon in Scorpio tends to veer towards paranoia. This is a moon that's really sensitive to a kind of extreme degree. And so that falling in your career house is kind of like a warning to not go off the deep end thinking that people at work are out to get you. And part of why we bring in the idea of stabilizing through disruption is because opposite this moon, very precisely, we have Uranus in Taurus. And Taurus, of course, wants to create stability and wants to sort of soothe and calm down all of the paranoia of Scorpio. And then Uranus wants to do it by kind of like breaking up old patterns, by disrupting old thought forms. So if you have any old emotional patterns of paranoia around work, this could be a moon when that stuff comes up to the surface, and you may find somebody at home, Uranus is falling in your 4th house, somebody at home who can help to soothe you so that you don't do anything crazy on account of those feelings. But that's not even the most interesting moon of this month. The other one is more interesting because it's an eclipse. So here we see Sun in Scorpio in the 10th house, opposite Moon in Taurus here in your 4th house. This is a lunar eclipse in Taurus. And we're calling this one, It Doesn't Matter If You're Right. And that's because it includes a square to Jupiter. And then there's also a helpful trine going on with Pluto. So this could be a pretty argumentative moon. This could be a pretty resistant to change moon. And eclipses, of course, they show us our shadow. Lunar eclipses show us our shadow in an emotional way. So emotions come up that are really intense. They get stirred up. And then we might, find ourselves looking, right down at the very sub-basement of our soul, at the demons that are there. And so the wisdom of Jupiter, along with the objectivity of its sign placement, Aquarius, can help to bring some balance into this. And certainly Pluto will be very helpful by allowing some room for vulnerability. So you can find out more about these moons, with the eclipse included in that, it's a moon as well, on our November 2021 news playlist on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, or you can also find it on the monthly forecast page at our website, pandoraastrology.com. Now, the last thing I want to tell you about is the seasonal change, which is where the sun leaves Scorpio and enters into Sagittarius. Sagittarius season is a season of settling in for the winter. I always envision people gathering around the tribal fire and keeping warm and celebrating the end of the harvest. And another thought about Sagittarius is that it's the light at the end of the Scorpio tunnel. Scorpio takes us into the dark places. Sagittarius brings us back out into the light. So it's a lovely season, and this brings the sun, which represents the light of consciousness and awareness and attention, brings it into your 11th house of community, of tribe, of groups and friends, kicking off a season where you should be hanging out with friends. You should be socializing and meeting up with people and putting your high quality attention on them. All right, that's what we have for you today, Aquarius. Hope you enjoyed it. You can always find horoscopes on our website, pandoraastrology.com, on the horoscope page, and on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology on YouTube. And if you want a reading to follow through on anything you learned here, you can find us at the services page on our website. And also there are classes that you can take there as well. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye-bye.
Bye.